Good evening and welcome to yet another awesome session of mindful living. All sessions of mindful living are guaranteed to improve your quality of life, and our session today is no different. Our session today is about Ramayana, and this is our second session. The first one was in November, where we talked about Ram and the different characters in Ramayana, more from a psychological and a psychoanalysis perspective rather than from a religious perspective. So this is our humble attempt to bring Ramayana to people today. A couple of some time back, I used to look at Ramayana only as a story, but due to the recent, due to some things that happened, I authored a book and I wrote a chapter in that. One of the stories in that was about Ramayana. I got very interested in the depth which is there. And in one of the conversations with Brigadier Vidur, I then, we discussed about leadership lessons from Ramayana, and then it took a different form. And today, we are so happy to bring these sessions to you, which is about understanding Ramayana, how things have played out in our life, and in eternity from starting from Satya Yuga to Kali Yuga, and so on and so forth. And who better than Brigadier Vidur to bring us the wisdom from the ancient scripture? Brigadier Vidur was commissioned into the Indian Army in March 82, and during his 33 years of distinguished career, he progressed from the rank of second lieutenant to a brigadier, and he served the country from in the Siachen Glacier in Operation Meghdoot, dealing with anti-terrorist battles in Kashmir, Assam, Arunachal, in Operation Rakshak and Operation Rhino, respectively. Brigadier Vidur is a qualified interviewing officer from Defense Institute of Psychological Research, and he has served as the president of Elite Services Selection Board in Bhopal, benchmarking selection processes, leadership development, and research for selecting officers for Indian Armed Forces. He has, during his tenure, evaluated over 2,500 aspirants and developed their personality profiles. And more recently, after his retirement, he has been involved in personality development training and training young lads to become officers in Indian Armed Forces, a very noble initiative indeed, Brigadier Vidur. And recently, he was appointed as the independent director to Vanke's India Limited. So, complete journey from battle ground to the boardroom. Brigadier Vidur, we are so happy to have you with us doing this series on Ramayana, and the leadership lessons and the life lessons from Ramayana for people like us, who may not be so conversant with the learnings from this ancient scripture. And before I hand over the mic to the session to Brigadier Vidur, I'll just take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. We started Mindful Living community in April 2020, when the first lockdown happened, and few of my friends reached out to me, requesting me to conduct a mindfulness session for them to help them deal with the stress and anxiety that the lockdown was causing. And over a weekend, we conducted a session. One thing led to the other, and now we have become a vibrant community of over 1,000 people who connect regularly to learn about living consciously and share their challenges and successes with each other. And we don't advertise about the work we do. The only way you can join this community is when somebody invites you. So, with open arms, we invite you to join the community. We'll be sharing the link in the chat box. It's a no nonsense community, no religious or political posts, no good morning, good night messages, just people who are connected with the desire of living consciously and helping each other do the same. You can scan this QR code to connect with us on the WhatsApp group, and also to scan our to join our YouTube channel, where the all the recordings of our sessions are put. We have over 200 recordings on our YouTube channel, including the one which is the first session on Ramayana that Brigadier Vidur did in November. So that way you will get context of how we have led to this session today. where he's going to be talking about the Baal Kand. My own background is in corporate sector. By education, I'm an MBA and have worked with companies like Xerox, Tata AIA, Future Rally, and Marsh. I'm a cost accountant, certified mindfulness meditation teacher, a fellow of Life Management Institute, a coach and mentor to students of IIM Nagpur, and recently turned an author of this book, Beyond Limits, which is available on Amazon and getting some rave reviews. So on that note, I'll invite Brigadier Vidar to take this session forward. But before that, the duration of the session will be about 60 to 90 minutes. We will take up question and answers towards the end of the session, but stay actively engaged using the reactions button, show love, thumbs up if anything that Brigadier Vidar shares that resonates with you. And at the end, when you have a question to ask, please use the raise hand button in the reactions so that we can take up your questions one by one. And keep actively engaged on the chat. Keep sharing your questions with us. I'll be taking care of them and we will pick them up during the end of the session. And on that note, Brigadier Vidar, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ashish, for all those good words.
Thank you, sir.
I welcome all the members in the audience. I'm so thankful to you for sparing your time and come and join this session. Some of you, or rather most of you, I see were not there in the last episode. Though I'll not be covering much, but a little bit will be covering of the last episode. To start with the next one, the Indian ethos and values are deeply embedded in our ancient wisdom. Ramayana is one of the epics through which these values and virtues have been transferred from one generation to another generation. And Ramayana is, without doubts, one of the best epics or classics, with a lead role played by Rama and Sita. The role of Rama and Sita played by Lord Vishnu and Goddess Lakshmi herself. So there cannot be a better epic than what it is. If Ramayana was not brought into writing, probably it would have been very difficult for us to show a datum of what is a virtue and what is a righteousness today. We have disrespected righteousness so much that if we need a standard, it is Ramayana. And I don't know what would have happened if the epic like Ramayana wouldn't have been there in today's era. Let me share my presentation. Where is it gone? Yeah. Can you see it, sir?
I think you should allow this.
Allow?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't see it. Can you see it?
No, nothing. Just close that post attendance. Yeah, close both of these. Yeah.
I'll rejoin.
No, you don't.
No, I'm there. Yeah.
No, this is the WhatsApp. We can see your WhatsApp now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now can you see?
Yeah, but you need to make it full screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Jai Shri Ram. I
Jai
didn't
Shri
say that. Probably that is why it didn't start.
Yeah.
Okay. So the aim of this series of session is to bring about lessons from Ramayana to build up our foundation to be a good person first and consequently to become a good professional. In the last episodes, in the last episode, the last one which I had, we have gone beyond the realms of Ramayana only, and we discussed the personalities of Ram, Ravan, Duryodhan, and Shri Krishna. And we have finally come to the conclusion that these four personalities are not occurring in isolation in today's era. But the traits of all these four people are within you. So on one side, you continuously tend to justify adharma, fully knowing that it is adharma. Like Duryodhan said, Janami dharmam, nacha me pravrutti. Janami adharmam, nacha me nivrutti. I know what is righteousness, but I can't follow it. I know what is unrighteousness, but I can't prevent it. I have to do that. So we continuously tend to justify our adharma. We display anger, high-handedness, which can only lead to self-destruction. We know that, but we still do it. We display our ego, which will always ruin the capability. On the other hand, we love dharma. We want to follow it always. If not we want our children to follow it. We want our neighbors to follow it. We want everybody else to follow it, if not we. You know, English is the only language where the discipline and self-discipline are two different subjects, two different words. In Marathi, I have always studied Shista, and that Shista was same for you also and me also. But in English, self-discipline is different. But I was just trying to see what is the origin of this. So the English word discipline comes from some Latin word of disciplia or something. Now that means instructions. So actually, when you talk about discipline, you are instructing others that you should be disciplined. And therefore, for me, I have to have self-discipline. But that in our culture, self-discipline and discipline is the same thing. So we love dharma, but like we've gone on to the British culture and we want others to follow that dharma. But somewhere in the heart, that dharma is dear to us. Our procedures notwithstanding, we always act in the interest of the organization, or we want to act in the interest of organization. We boast number of times that whatever I did was in the form of organization, was in the interest of organization. So since all these traits are there, what is the predominant trait that you see in a gentleman? And that predominant trait is generally decided by how your upbringing has been. Now, that is why we request that the sessions like this must be attended by more and more children, because that is the generation which is going to go up and have this upbringing, which will have ethos which is required. The other thing that we studied in the last session was the importance of fulfilling one's duties in the context of family, profession, society, and nation. And that is what is dharma. The righteousness through the characters like Shri Ram, Sita, Hanuman, Lakshman, Bharat. Not only these, every character in Ramayana, if you see, it has got some virtues. Why every other character, even Ravan, when Ravan died, Ram sent Lakshman to Ravan to understand from him the secrets of his life. And I believe when Lakshman went there, he very arrogantly dealt with Ravan, and Ravan told him to get lost. So Lakshman came back to Ram, and he asked Ram. He said, this is what Ravan says. So Ram tells Lakshman that when you are going to him now, you are going to him as his shishya and not as a defeated enemy. So please go to him, behave like a shishya, give him the respect of the guru, and then learn that gyan that he's going to give you. So even Ram knows that there is some character in Ravan. So there are such like characters in Ramayana. is the love story of Ram and Sita, along with the theme of devotion, bhakti, which plays a crucial role in the narrative. The battle between Rama and Ravana symbolizes the eternal struggle between the good and evil. And that is why we are also, that battle is going on in our mind also today. When there is a red signal, I want to jump that red signal. Unless there's a police or something, I want to go. My first reaction is I should jump the red signal. I should not pay the tax which is required to be paid. So these are all maybe because of the environmental effects or whatever it is, that good and evil is, playing. It is having a battle within ourselves. But we must thank the epics like Ramayana that good exists. We can compare the evil with the good even today. If Ramayana was not there, or even if such epics were not there, we wouldn't have known what is good. So evil would have been, our standard. We, like the characters of Ramayana too, often face situations that require personal sacrifice for greater good. I also highlight the themes of honor and loyalty. So honor and loyalty, there's a lot to learn from this kind of, epics. There was one question asked to me about the difference between the Ramayana and Ramacharitamanus. I think the gentleman who asked the question is there online now. Am I right? Okay. But since I have prepared it, let me go through that at the cost of maybe another 2 minutes. Okay. So first difference is, this is Ramacharitamanus. And this is Ramayana. Why I am showing this to you is, one of my course-mates, Captain Kadam, when he knew that I am conducting these kind of lessons, the sessions, he sent this Ramacharitamanus to me. This is 1961 edition. This was with him for 2 to 3 generations. So he said, since you are using it, I am not reading it now. You please make use of it. And that is coming very handy to me for preparing my lessons on Ramayana. Now coming to the other differences. Ramayana was written in Treta Yuga by sage Valmiki in Sanskrit, whereas Ramacharitamanus has been written in Kali Yuga by Goswami Tulsidas. He lived from 1511 to 1623, and he's written it in Awadhi language. Both have 7 chapters. The only difference is the chapter which is called Yuddha Kanda in Ramayana is called Lanka Kand in Ramacharitamanus. Ramayana is based on shlokas. The shlokas have got 4 lines of 8 syllables each. That is what shlokas is. This is one type of shloka, and entire Ramayana is written in this type of shloka. Whereas Ramacharitamanus is based on chaupai. You must be knowing about Hanuman Chalisa. Hanuman Chalisa is in the form of chaupai. So Ramacharitamanus is written in the form of chaupai in Awadhi language. In Ramayana, King Dasharatha had about 350 wives, of which his 3 most liked were Kaushalya, Sumitra, and Kaikeyi. Whereas in Ramacharitamanus, Dasharatha had only 3 wives. Lord Hanuman was shown as a human who belonged to the Vanar tribe. Whereas in Ramacharitamanus, he is a monkey. In Ramayana, King Janak did not organize any Swayamvar as such. His condition for getting Sita married was Virya Shulka. Virya Shulka is your bravery itself is the condition for getting married, is a price for getting married. Virya Shulka. So whoever comes, and his condition was to pick up that Shiva Dhanusha. So whoever comes and picks up the Shiva Dhanusha can marry her. So he kept it as an open forum in Ramayana. But Ramcharitmanas says that it was a proper organized event. In Ramayana, the real Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, whereas Ramcharitmanas says that real Sita was handed over to Agni by Rama even before she was kidnapped. And what was kidnapped by Ravan is a clone. Consequently, in Ramayana, Sita was asked to prove her purity to the world by Agni Pariksha, and Sita went through that. But in Ramcharitmanas, it says that it was only a medium to get actual Sita at the cost of clone Sita. So what came out of Agni Pariksha was actual Sita. What went into Agni Pariksha was a clone Sita which was kidnapped by Ravan. In Ramayana, Ravan faced Rama twice. Once he lost and left by Ram. Second time he was killed. Whereas in Ramacharitmanas, he was defeated and killed in the first battle itself. Sri Ram was depicted as a human with exceptional conduct and virtues. Hence, Rama was called Maryada Purushottam in Ramayana. Whereas in Ramcharitmanas, he is depicted as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and the action of Sri Ram were described as the right way to establish dharma in the world. So here he was a god, here he is a human being. This is about the end of Ram. As per Ramayana, he drowned himself into Saryu after Sita submitted herself to the ground, and even Lakshmana submitted himself to Saryu. Whereas Ramacharitmanas doesn't see the end of Rama. At the birth of Lavkush, Ramcharitmanas ends. So that is about the difference between the two epics or the two versions of the epics. So if there are any other questions, otherwise we'll go over to part 2, which is Baal Kand. So let me see if I have anything to. Okay.
Good evening, Brigadier Vidur. This is Murali.
Good evening, Murali sir. How are you?
Good, sir. Sir, I have one very basic question.
Huh.
The Ramcharitmanas is written in Awadhi language,
Yeah.
Awadhi language, right?
Yeah.
So later it was translated to Sanskrit and Hindi, is it? I mean, how it was or still it continues to be in.
No, what the Ramcharitmanas that I have is written in Awadhi and translated in Hindi.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Okay, so it is like it's very similar to Hindi, like
Hanuman Chalisa, no? Hanuman Chalisa.
Like you say, Mangala Bhavana Amangala Hari, Mangala Bhavana Mangala Hari, Drusahu Sudasharatha, Ajira Bihari. Okay. So it is, you can really understand. I mean, a little bit. It's like Dnaneshwari has been written by Dnaneshwar in Prakrut Marathi.
Okay.
So if I have to read Dnaneshwari today, I do not understand much of it.
What is Prakrut Marathi?
Sorry?
Yeah. What is Prakrut Marathi?
Prakrut Marathi is the Marathi which was being spoken in 12th, 13th century.
Oh, the old Marathi kind of.
So the Marathi has changed over a period of time. The 12th, 13th century Marathi was different than what Shivaji spoke in 16th, 17th century. And it is different from what is being spoken today.
Correct. Got it.
So Awadhi probably is not like that, but Awadhi is a language.
Okay. Thank you.
So can I go ahead? Yeah. So Baal Kand, before that, this is a disclaimer which I gave last time also, and somebody has advised me that the disclaimer should be in as small font as possible, because people should not be able to read it. And if you are speaking, you should speak something like, mutual funds are subject to market risk and, something. So people should not be able to understand also. But then I, like a gentleman, because I'm speaking on Ramayana, I thought let me be a gentleman here and kept it on a bigger font. So I'll request you to please read that. Yeah. So Valmiki Ramayana has got 24,000 verses, 647 chapters, which are called sarga, and which is divided into 7 kand. That is Baal Kand, Ayodhya Kand, Aranya Kand, Kishkinda Kand, Sundar Kand, Yuddha Kand, and finally Uttar Kand. Of which we shall be now in the next about 2 to 3 sessions. I thought it will, finish in one session. But when I started making preparing for my session, I realized that no, it is not a thing which can finish in one session. So I'll take about 2 to 3 sessions for the Baal Kand. So today, to start with, as a prelude to Baal Kand, I would like to bring out a peculiar aspect of Ramayana. Ramayana is not just a book. It is like I was just discussing with Mr. Ashish when you all were not there. There is a book on Shivaji Maharaj which Baba Sahib Purandare has written. So with Shivaji Maharaj, something happened. There is a history which Baba Sahib Purandare have researched into, and he has written that book. It is good book or bad book or what book. I'm just giving an example. That book is very good, but any other book, whether it is good, bad, it is on your perception. This is not one just book which Valmiki thought I should write because it's a good story and therefore I will write. No. The book has been planned. Everything in this book has been planned. And this planning has started not in Treta Yuga. This planning has not started when Ram was already there in the world. This planning has started probably in the Satya Yuga, when Narad Muni spoke to Brahma that Kali Yuga is going to come after so many thousands of years. And in Kali Yuga, the only thing that is going to go down to the zenith is, what is zenith is down or Nadir is down? I think Nadir is down. So what is going to go down and going to be disrespected maximum is the values and virtues. So therefore, you have to have something which will act like a beacon, which will act like a datum line to the people in Kali Yuga, so that they can at least know we can keep the virtues alive. So therefore, there has to be something written, and the planning started there. Everything that you see in Ramayana, you will realize that there is a coincidence, and there cannot be so many coincidences in anybody's life. Every coincidence was planned. So therefore, I feel that Ramayana is more of a project than just a book. And planning of a project, like, we expect, say, a minister to go to the, say, or a MLA of a area goes to the chief minister and says, okay, in my area, after 5 years, the population is going to be so much, and therefore I want a flyover in this area. So you take, 4.5 years to get that flyover. But anyway, you get that flyover, that will probably eases out the, traffic. This is similar planning, but this is a planning over a period of time. In Satya Yuga, it is decided to plan for Kali Yuga. So now this is a hypothesis, and the points that are to be that the point that prove my hypothesis or are towards proving of my hypothesis, I'll be giving in the next few minutes. Now, since the director of this story was Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, so there was no dearth of resources. Since the actor also was Vishnu himself, there was no other problem. So like a good film director, this story has been set And then it was likhwai gai, it is not just written by Valmiki, it was likhwai gai. And how that likhwai gai, also will see those points. So the first link is curse to Jai Vijay by Sanakadika. Now, I have covered this in my last session as to how Ravan was born. But since some of you were not there in the last session, I will cover this in gist though, but again. Now, Sanakadik is a term that is given to the children of Brahma. Their names are Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanadhana, and Sanatha. They were highly educated and completely accomplished people. And Jai Vijay were two Dwarpals of Vishnu. And like every Dwarpal of even, you can say the bouncers of a minister or a PA of a minister or a driver of a minister, they're always arrogant. They think they are their boss. So when these four children came and they were teenagers, so these people were, robust and handy. So these people thought, Jai Vijay thought that these are children and what children can, meet Vishnu. Actually, these were not just children. They were, like I told you, they were highly accomplished. And they were going to Vishnu to discuss, moksha. Because Brahma offered them that you come and help me in my work. But then they wanted moksha, so they wanted to discuss that with Vishnu. But they didn't know that. So when they arrogantly dealt with these children, those children gave him a curse that you will be born on the earth hereafter and you will not be in Vaikuntha. So quickly these people got worried and they went to Vishnu, and Vishnu said, they asked Vishnu, कि भाई ये मेरे को ऐसे ऐसे श्राप दिया हुआ है. Now you do something about it. You have to cancel it. I want to be here. So Vishnu said, no, I can't cancel it. They are not, normal children. They are highly accomplished people and their curse remains. The only thing is I can remit it to some level and I can give you a choice between coming and staying in or going to the earth as a human being for 100 births and live as my devotee there, or go and stay there for 3 births as a demon. And I assure you that in all 3 births of these demons, I will come and vanquish you. I will come and kill you. Okay, so they said, okay, probably if we become demon, we can come back to Vaikuntha sooner. So they, decided to be demons for next 3 births. And just to give you, since you will be knowing about it, many of you, in the first Satyayug, they come down as Hiranyakashyap and Hiranyaksha. The Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsimha, which is one of the Vishnu's avatar. And Hiranyaksha was killed by Varaha, which was again Vishnu's avatar. In Treta Yuga, they came as Ravan and Kumbhakarna and killed by Ram. And in Dwapar Yuga, they came as Shishupal and Dantavakra and were killed by Shri Krishna. So arrival of Ravan was decided in Satyayuga. Blessing by Vishnu to Manu, Shatrupa, who is the initial couple of Raghu Vansha. They carried out tapestry and Vishnu was happy and Vishnu asked them, what boon would you like to ask? So Manu Shatrupa said that you should be born to us as a child. So he said, Tathastu, this will happen sometimes in future. So that was another preparation for Ramayana to happen. Third is the discussion between Narad Muni and Brahma regarding creating a document to keep the righteousness alive in the Kali Yuga. Like I told you, Narad Muni went to Brahma, and he said, Kali Yuga is going to be like this, and therefore some kind of a beacon is required. So therefore, please do something about it. Now, Narad Muni's role in converting a Lutera into Valmiki. Now, this also we discussed last time. Valmiki in his earlier life, I wouldn't say last birth, but Valmiki in his earlier life was a robber. What was his name? He is known by Agni Sharma, Loganj, Valya Koli. But that notwithstanding, he was a robber, and he used to, rob even the sages en route when they were crossing the jungle. Now, these sages reported this to Narad Muni, that there is some Lutera who loots us, and every time he troubles us. Now, Narad Muni was a Muni himself. He had got all the Vidya that was required. And when Ahilya could be made a Shila, Ahilya could be made, a stone. Even Valmiki could have been made a stone so that he doesn't trouble the people going. But Valmiki was not made a stone. Narad Muni came to that jungle, and Narad Muni asked him, why are you doing this? So he said, I'm doing it to help my children and wife. So, but he said, do you know that you're doing pap? You're doing, adharma? He says, yes, I know that, but I am doing it for a very noble cause. So are your family members with you, and will they participate if you get any punishment for this? So he says, yes. So Narad says, you please go and ask them. So he says, okay, I will go and ask. So he goes home, he asks them, will you participate in the punishment that I get for all these things that I'm doing? So they say, why should we? It is your duty to feed us. How you do that is your baby, not mine. So you please do only dharma and feed us. We are happy. You do adharma and feed us. We are happy. We will not participate into your punishment. So he comes back disappointed. And he asks Narad, what could I do now? So Narad says, okay, you now start your penance. You start saying Ram, 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 Ram. And probably all your paps will be washed out. So he says, I can't say Ram. He says, then you say Mara, means death. So he says Mara, 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 which becomes Ram, 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 Ram over a period of time. And he starts doing that in that jungle. And after, after a few years, the same sages who probably complained, they are coming back. And they find the sound of Ram, 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 Ram coming from below a ant hill. And they open that ant hill and they find that same gentleman there. So then, since ant hill is called Valmik in Sanskrit, he was called Valmiki. So keeping Valmiki alive, or as a human, or as a rishi, or whatever, is also a part of the story. Otherwise, he could have been destroyed or killed or made into a stone or anything. But this link is very, very important in the entire Ramayana that is going to happen. Then Dasharatha has two boons to Kaikeyi after Dandaka forest battle. A battle took place in Dandakaranya, where Kaikeyi always accompanied Dasharatha for battles. So in this battle, the bolt of his wheel was removed, which Kaikeyi came to know, but Dasharatha didn't know. So what Kaikeyi did was, she put her left hand first finger into that where the bolt is kept, that slot, and thereby not allowing the wheel to go out, which was realized after Dasharatha got the victory. And when he got the victory and when he realized that what work Kaikeyi did, he gave two boons to her. Now see, look at the other coincidence. Kaikeyi was given a boon by one of the rishis that her left finger will be made of diamond so that, it can take on such kind of a thing. So coincidence after coincidence. So these two boons, if these two boons were not there, Ram wouldn't have gone to Vanvas. Okay, so this is another link. The next link, the episode of Dasharatha and Shravan Kumar. I'm sure many of you know this. Shravan Kumar was a small little child who was taking his parents on that coward to Kashi. In between, he stopped while Dasharatha had gone for his shikar. He stopped for giving water to his parents. And he went to the nearest lake or something. And when he was filling his pot with water, some sound came, which Dasharatha thought that it was some animal who has come to drink water. So without even looking at it, he shot his arrow, and this arrow hit Shravan Kumar. So then he found, instead of an animal, Shravan Kumar was lying there. So he asked him, "Who are you?" He told his story. In the meantime, he died. He told him, "My parents are there." So he picked up that water and he tried to give water to the parents. So parents didn't drink water. But when they came to know that Dasharatha has killed them, they gave him a curse that you will also die of Putra Vyog. That is, your son will leave you, and bereavement of your son, you will die in that. So this was another, coincidence bolo ya link bolo, because if Dasharatha was already 60,000 years old, he would have lived for another 40,000 years. There was no problem. So if Dasharatha was there, Ram would have never become, his coronation would have never happened. And the boon of Kaikeyi would have gone waste. But because that had to happen, uh, Dasharatha had to give it to Ram, and then he had to die to show the virtue that the Bharat had. So all these things are linked. On request from sages, gods Vishnu accepted to be born to Dasharatha and Kaushalya. Now, Dasharatha and Kaushalya are Manu and Shatrupa reborn. If you go to the second link, they are reborn Manu and Shatrupa. Now, on the what happens is Ravan starts troubling everybody on the earth, and therefore even the earth, the devatas, the Gandharva, along with Brahma, they first go to Brahma, and then with Brahma they go to Vishnu, and then they complain that this is what is happening. So now you should do something. So he said, "Okay, I'll be born to Dasharatha and Kausalya, and I'll do the needful." Now simultaneously, Janaki was found, that is, Sita was found by Janak in his fields. Now, why Sita was found and why Ram was born, we'll see this later, time permitting. Okay, so Sita and that is Lakshmi and Vishnu, both were born on the earth at the same time. Now, it didn't just stop at that. Brahma also requested all gods to be born as Vanar. So, Rama was not left high and dry. Simultaneously, there was a planning that Vanaras will be born. And who were these Vanaras? Hanuman was born to Vayu. It's called Vayu Putra Hanuman. Mainda and Dvivida are the sons of Ashwini Kumar. Nala is the son of Vishwakarma. Nala Nila constructed the Setu. Sharabha was son of Parjanya. Sugriva was the son of Surya. Susneha was the son of Varuna. Tar was the son of Brihaspati. All these are Vanara. They have been described in different battles. Vali was the son of Indra. Gandhamadan was the son of Kuber. So, this planning was also done simultaneously. Then the discussion between Narad Muni and Brahma regarding the process of narration of Ramayana. Who should narrate Ramayana? So that is the time when Narad Muni suggested to Brahma that Valmiki should write Ramayana. Now you realize why Valmiki was not converted to a stone and kept there and he was brought here. Because Narad wanted Valmiki to write Ramayana. So then there was, after they discussed, then the sowing of desire in Valmiki to write something. Because Valmiki did not know that I have to write Ramayana. So a desire was sowed by Brahma and Narad into Valmiki that I must write something. What should I write? I should do something. What should I do? As that desire was very, very alive, Narad Muni himself appeared there. And Narad Muni appeared and he discussed as to what to do, because he asked him a number of questions. He asked him what are the qualities that I should write about. Probably we will not have time to discuss those qualities today, but those qualities are important and we will discuss if required in the next session. But then he narrated to him the qualities that Rama had, and he narrated to him the entire Ramayana. So Valmiki was given an idea of what Ramayana is. Now this Ramayana is already being played. That is the time the Valmiki and Ram were contemporary. They were both existing. So this Ramayana was already being played. Ram was already there. Ram was already fighting something when this thing was happening. So Narada narrated to him the qualities which should be there, which we'll see later. And he also narrated Ramayana to him. And he narrated Ramayana to him in this form. He only narrated the gist of Ramayana. And later on, we will see he was given a boon to also see Ramayana, physically what is happening. So there is something which was described to him by Narad Muni. There are something which he saw, which he does that in 4th or 5th Sarga in Baal Kand. And then he wrote something in more details of 6 or 7 cantos. So this is what Narad Muni narrated to Valmiki. Firstly, he said what are the qualities that he is going to have, which we'll see later. Then he spoke about the birth of Rama, his marriage with Sita. Ramayana, unlike Mahabharata, or I would say Ram, unlike Krishna, is being spoken of very little in his childhood. You will find very few, Ram Leela in the meaning of Krishna Leela. You have those Ram Leelas going on, but they generally depict the Ram fighting, not as a young Ram. Young Ram you will not find much. Why so? We will see when we come to the Baal Kand. So of his birth, of his marriage, of his preparation for coronation, then the Kaikeyi's insistence that he should go to Vanvas. Then both Sita and Lakshman opting to also go with Ram. This is what he is describing. Then he's moved to Bhardwaj Rishi Ashram. Now, why I'm specifying Bhardwaj Rishi Ashram is till a particular stage, his entire carcade or horsecade or whatever was with him. Because Dasharatha wanted to see off his child as a king. But then after some time, Ram sends back everybody, and he only carries one person called Guha, who is the king of Nishad, the community called Nishad. generally the hunters. So he only carries him to Bhardwaj ashram, where he meets Bhardwaj Rishi, and Bhardwaj Rishi advises him to go to Chitrakoot. So while he goes to Chitrakoot, he sends Guha back, and only 3 of them go to Chitrakoot, and they stay at Chitrakoot. After some time, Raja Dasharatha dies, and after that, Bharat refuses to take the throne. He says, no, now that our father has passed away, and Kaikeyi is also mellowed down because she realized that Bharat was not very happy with her decision. So she said, I did everything for Bharat, and Bharat himself is not happy with the decision. So what? Let Ram come back. Where is the problem? So she also mellowed down. So what Bharat did, she took all the mothers and he himself, he went to Chitrakoot and he requested Ram to come back. But Ram said, no, my father has told me to come here. So what if he is no more? I will complete my vanvas and go. So you go back. So he said, you give me your khadao. I will keep your khadao on the simhasan and then I will rule for you. So he gives his khadao to him. He gives him a few gyan kind of lessons, and then he sends him back. So while these people go from Chitrakoot back to Ayodhya, Bharat stays in Nandigram. He doesn't rule from Ayodhya, but he gets the Simhasan to Nandigram and rules from there. So while they go to Nandigram, Rama moves to Dandakaranya. So in Dandakaranya, Rama meets Agasti Rishi. He meets Sharabhanga. He meets Sutikshna. He also meets Agasti Rishi's brother. And all these people give him a number of weapons, astras and shastras. That is not only weapons, but the knowledge also. So another, you can say, coincidence or provisioning or whatever you want to call it. So these are the things which were available. We'll see more of provisioning when we talk about Baal Kand when he goes to Vishwamitra. So much of provisioning has been done by Vishwamitra and Parshuram to Ram. So after this, Rama gets weapons and knowledge from Agasti, and he has a lot of encounters. The people, the Rishimunis in the neighboring areas, they come to Ram, and he has a lot of encounters with Rakshasa. So things are happening. So one of the days, Shurpanakha comes there and she tries to seduce Ram and Lakshman also, but Ram refuses. So she's very angry with Sita because she knows that Sita is the reason why Ram does not want to marry me. So she goes to kill Sita, and on that offensive action, Lakshman defaces her. Lakshman uska naak aur kaan ko kaat deta hai. Now she gets very angry with that and she reports this to her brother, Khar and Nikharva. So they get in another, Rakshasas from there. And Ravan fights almost 14,000 Rakshasas while he is there in Panchavati. But they lose. So Shurpanakha goes to Ravan and complains that this is what is happening. So Ravan gets furious, and Ravan, approaches one of the Rakshas called Marich. So Marich Rakshas is the one who became golden deer. So he says, Marich, you now please help me in this entire conspiracy. So Marich was earlier, Marich had an encounter with Ram, with Vishwamitra. So he says, he advises to Ravan, please don't do this because he's a very strong man and he will not let you live. So don't go into it. But Ravan wouldn't agree because he had to die. So Marich also couldn't say anything because Ravan was king. So Marich becomes, and then that conspiracy of, kidnapping of Sita, you all know that. So kidnapping of Sita was only viewed only by one person, and that is Jatayu. Jatayu was a Garud and friend of both Dasharatha and Janak. So when he finds Sita being kidnapped by Ravan, he tries his level best to, snatch her back and, kill Ravan, but he cannot do because he's very old. So he gets killed and he is falling down when Ram is walking. And, then Ram approaches Garud, that Jatayu. So Jatayu tells Ram that Sita has been. That is all Garud knows about it, Jatayu knows about it. He doesn't know where they have gone because actually, he's gone somewhere. So hereafter, if you see, it is coincidence after coincidence. It is like you will find we used to play that game of treasure hunt when we were small. So it's something like treasure hunt. So he asks Jatayu, what do I do now? So he says, go from here so many yojana, you will find a parvat called Kabanda. Now this Kaband is actually some Gandharva who is Shapit and becomes Parvat. So he goes there as Ram approaches Kabanda. He starts talking to him and he says, you kill me, I will become then Gandharva and then I'll tell you what to do. So he kills him, he becomes Gandharva and he takes his moksha and he tells that Shabri is available a few yojana away from here. Please go and meet Shabri. So they go to Shabri, and you all know about those jute bear of Shabri. So he goes to Shabri, eats those bear, and Shabri tells them about Hanuman, Sugreva, all these Kishkinda. So he goes to Kishkinda. So he meets Hanuman. To cut the story short, kills Wali, forms a Vanar Sena. Then Hanuman moves to Lanka. But before that, there is another story which we'll see when we come to that. So Hanuman goes to Lanka, meets with Sita. He kills number of generals in Ravana's generals in Lanka. He also kills one of the Ravana's son. He burns Lanka and then he comes back. Then all these people prepare Setu. They fight various battles, finally killing Ravan. Then the coronation of Vibhishan takes place and they move back to Ayodhya. Now, this is the Ramayana which Narad Muni narrates to Valmiki. So, this is how it has been planned. Now, what happens next? Now, when Narad Muni goes back to Brahma and tells him that I have done this, Brahma puts Saraswati, which is the personification of knowledge. Brahma puts Saraswati on the Valmiki's tongue and blesses him to be poetic. And then he creates a shloka, which we'll see how that happens when he goes to, when we go to Baal Kand. And this shloka is actually in the form of shrap. It's a form of a curse. So he's surprised, what has this come out of my mouth? And that is why Valmiki is called Adya Kavi. This is the first time something poetic, something in the form of shloka came out from somebody. So, yeah. So, he is blessed to be poetic. And thereafter, the Brahma himself comes down. Brahma finally comes down and directs Valmiki to, so he is directed earlier. He provides him the divine vision to see Ramayana happening. The Valmiki gets a Divya Drishti that he can actually see even Vyakta and Avyakta, that is known and unknown parts of Ramayana. He can actually see it. What is going on in the mind of various characters, he can see that, he can hear that, he can feel that. So he gives him that vision to see Ramayana happening. And he also blesses him that whatever he writes or speaks about Ramayana will come true. So he doesn't have to worry about it. So that is the kind of boon that he gets. Finally, also, he creates circumstances where Ravan cannot do any physical abuse to Sita. There is a lady called Devavati who is, I'm forgetting the name of the Rishi whose daughter she is. She is said to be the previous Janam of Sita and also reincarnation of Lakshmi. So she is doing tapacharya for getting Vishnu. She's very, very beautiful girl. So Ravan once when he's passing by, he gets smitten by her beauty and he offers her himself. So she immolates herself and she gives a shrap to Ravan, a curse that if he touches any parastri, woman, his head will be blown into 1,000 pieces. So this is the curse which was given to Ravan, which saves Sita a number of times from Ravana's advances. So these are, sir, how much time do we have? Do we have? Ashish sir? Ashish sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, this thing was on mute. Because we have about 30 minutes, Brigade.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we have 30 minutes, then I can go ahead with the next part. Okay. We were at, qualities of Sri Ram. We've seen this Ramayana. Now, you know that Valmiki was sowed with that desire, to write something. So this is what Valmiki asked Narad Muni. That who in this world lives today endowed with excellent qualities, the prowess, the righteousness, the gratitude, the truthfulness, the firmness in his vows. Who is that one who is gifted with good conduct, given to the well-beings of all the living creatures, learning in the lores, capable of doing things which the others cannot do, singularly handsome, who is self-restrained and can conquer the anger? Who is that who is endowed with brilliance and free from all the envies? Who is that when excited or even devatas are, or in wrath, even devatas are afraid of him? Who is that gentleman about whom I should write? Now, this is all because of that showing in desire of I should write something. And he wants to write about somebody who is virtuous. So, Narad Muni replies, he says his name is Rama. I will be rattling out these qualities, but these qualities are very important. So therefore, I do not want to, you to just read it. They are very, very important qualities. His name is Rama, who is born in this race of King Ikshwaku. He is having a steady nature, possessing incomprehensible prowess, a great intellectual. He is illustrious and wise. He is knowledgeable in the true nature of the Vedas and accomplished in the military sciences. Sri Rama knows true meaning of all scriptures. He has retentive memory, a talented and possessing brightness of conception. He is self-effulgent and self commanding, subjects, senses under his control, adheres to rules, eloquent and pure at heart, pious but firm in his vows, ever intent on doing good to his subjects. He is obedient to elders, like a sea to rivers. He is accessible to men of virtue and those who are dependent on him. He has equal disposition towards all. He goes on to say that he is ever meditating for protecting those who take refuge in him, auspicious like Brahma, the sustainer of the world, destroyer of the enemies, protector of all living beings, protector of all moral codes, performed the duties of a king and protected his subjects. Okay, now why saying so is probably he has already started becoming a king. So he's already in Uttarakhand. Okay. By now, the first 6 kandas are a past story. So when Valmiki wrote Ramayana, he was actually in Uttarakhand and he could see everything happening up to uh, Yuddha Kand. So therefore, you will find even when Valmiki describes what he's seeing, till Yuddha Kand, he is in past tense. And in Uttarakhand, he is in future tense. We'll see that later. So that is why he's saying, performed the duties of kings and protected his subjects. An unperturbed mind, a circumspect, destroyer of foes and sins, beloved and well disposed towards all people, courteous even towards those who have done him harm. You know how he dealt with Ravan, as I told you. He asked Lakshman to go and seek some gyan from him. Handsome, strong-armed, broad shoulders, having conch-shaped neck and prominent cheeks, possessing a broad chest, armed with a great bow with a fleshy collarbones, knee-long arms, Ajanu Bahu as they call. I have so far seen 2 people, not seen, but heard of 2 people like this. I believe Gandhiji was also Ajanu Bahu and one was Ram. A noble head, large eyes, a graceful forehead, mighty and powerful. He has well-proportioned body, neither tall nor short, shining complexion, well-developed chest, and lustrous body. Finally, he goes on to say that bestowed with all virtues, Sri Ram is like Vishnu in prowess, the moon in pleasing appearance, the all-consuming fire in anger, the earth in patience, like Kuber in charity, and like sun in steadfastness. Now, these are the qualities that Ram has, and I will now show you what one of the serials that are going on called Ram. So it says, जो संकट के समय में संयम रखे वही है राम, जिनके निर्णय स्वार्थ से मुक्त हो वही है राम, जो अपने आज से संसार के आने वाले कल को सुंदर बना दे वही है राम, जो अपने कर्म अपने चरित्र से मर्यादा को परिभाषित करे परंतु स्वयं फिर भी सरल रहे वही है राम. These are the qualities of Ram, which have been described by Narad to Valmiki. Now, we will see in Baal Kand and anywhere we go in future, all these qualities are seen physically when Ram is doing something. But I am thinking on, again, a little different lines. When I was reading all these qualities, it just struck me. I've been a selector in the Indian Army. I selected officers. When we select officers, we actually see these virtues in the officers. We see the level of their spiritual quotient. And we want, I don't want to eulogize, myself or some of my colleagues who are sitting in this gathering. But this is what actually we're doing. So what I try to do is I try to, compare what we see and what Rama has. And to that extent, all these qualities have been uh, summarized by Narad Muni. I only reorganized them as per my requirement. So in the army, we look for these qualities. Firstly, the qualities of head on the left top, that is effective intelligence, reasoning ability, organizing ability, and power of expression. On the right top, we have qualities of heart. Quality of head means intelligence, and qualities of heart means social qualities, social adaptability, cooperation where your sacrifice is given the maximum importance, and the sense of responsibility which encompasses all other qualities like your honesty, integrity, loyalty, how you are responsible to the people, how you are responsible for your family, your nation, and so on and so forth. Qualities of guts, that is our leadership qualities. That includes your initiative, your self-confidence, sense of decision making, group influence, how much you can influence group, and liveliness, that is your buoyancy. How can you come out of failure and again, fight? And the qualities of limbs, that is determination, courage, that are the physical qualities. Now, what I have done in a future part of the session, I will take about 5 to 10 minutes for this. I've just tried to put in those qualities of Rama into these qualities. So let me see. So firstly, the qualities of head. Now the Rama's qualities, that what we have seen in the first top left, even the slides I have shown was like having a steady nature, possessing incomprehensible prowess, that is good skills of what you need to do, a great intellect and self-effulgent. Self-effulgent means self-shining. He is illustrious and wise. He is knowledgeable in the true nature of Vedas. Okay, we don't deal with Vedas, but I'm now putting Rama's qualities in this. He knows the true meaning of all scriptures. He is well read. He has a retentive memory, talented, and possessing brightness of conception. He can understand what he's read, and he can explain what he knows. So this is the social qualities. Sorry, these are the qualities of the head. Coming to the qualities of the heart, he's self-commanding. He can restrain himself. He subjects censors under his control. He's adherent to the rules. He's eloquent, and he's pure at heart. He's pious but firm in his vows. Ever intent on doing good to his subjects. Sacrifice, I have told you earlier. He's obedient to the elders, responsible. He, like sea to rivers, he is accessible to men of virtue and those who are dependent on him. Has equal disposition towards all. He has no favorites and not favorites. He cannot afford to have favorites and not favorites. Then coming to the qualities of guts, ever meditating for protecting those who take refuge to him. His subordinates, people dependent on him, people for whom he is fighting. Some of in the terrorist environment, some of the people who come to him for rescue, he looks after them. Auspicious like Brahma. Okay, you can forget this quality, but that he's got something in him. Sustainer of the world, destroyer of the enemy, protector of all living beings, protector of moral codes. Why moral code? I will just describe to you later. Why moral code is I am attributing it to the army also. Perform the duties of king and protected subjects. Unperturbed mind, circumspect, destroyer of the foes, beloved and well disposed towards all people, courteous even towards those who have harmed him. And then qualities of limbs, where all his physical qualities have been listed. Now we actually, require these qualities, and we give a lot of importance to such qualities. Now I want to bring to your notice one latest change in the army headquarters, which is being discussed in the press today. Behind the chief of army staff's chair, earlier there used to be a painting which had General Arora and all those people signing the document during the surrender of Bangladesh, Pakistan Army, when Bangladesh was created. Very recently, this picture, this picture has been painted by one officer, one Christian officer from, I'm forgetting his name, some Joseph or something, from 28 Madras. And it is titled as Karma Shrestha, Field of Deeds. Now, what it says is, it portrays the army as guardian of dharma, fighting not merely as a defender of the nation, but to uphold justice and protect the nation's values. So dharma is that important to the defense forces. And defense forces is just one thing. I will also request that even the other selectors who are sitting in this gathering, who select people for their own organizations, must give some importance to these qualities of Rama, and these qualities as you can say as modified to suit the today's environment. You should see maximum of these qualities in the people that you are dealing with. So I think I will stop here. If someone has any questions, you can ask.
Surely. Thank you so much, Brigadier Vidar. And before we open up the session for question and answers, we will request
Yeah, the next was Baal Kand, which I will not take now. So that would take a lot of time.
Surely, Brigadier. We'll just request you to fill out a short 30-second feedback form, which we are sharing the link to. And once you have filled out the feedback form, please type FD in the chat so that we know we have filled out the feedback form. What an amazing session, Brigadier Vidar. There is so much, I think that's a beautiful point that you've made about Ramayana being a project and how everybody has come together to create this. And the qualities of Ram. We talk about leadership, but we never really look at leadership so comprehensively, and how Narad Muni orchestrated this with Valmiki and everybody else, how it was provisioned, how gods came, Vanar, everything so beautifully described, Brigadier Vidar. And kudos to you for going into this kind of depth. Doing this research is not is a humongous task, and really hats off to you for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Uh,
So any questions, anybody?
Yeah, thank you. Friends, fill out the feedback form. Your feedback is valuable for us. It's got simple 5 questions. It'll take you less than 30 seconds. Thank you, Murli. Thank you, Vilas. And then we'll open this up for Q&A or comments. please type FD, feedback done, once you have filled out the feedback form. Yeah, I agree with you, Surya sir. I completely agree with you. Friends, request you to fill out the feedback form. The link has been shared in the chat. And thank you, Seshachal.
Yeah, thank you, Murli, for that information. Part 3 of the Constitution, fundamental rights. There was a picture of Ram, Lakshman, and Sita.
Yeah, originally it
Thank
was
you.
there, and later versions they removed it.
Yeah.
All right, so we will open up the session for Q&A now. Brigadier, maybe you can stop sharing your screen, and then that way you will have better view of everyone. And I'll request everyone to keep your cameras on so that we can have a nice interaction for last 5 odd minutes that we have. And while we are waiting for your comments and feedback form to be filled up, happy to share that the next session on continuation of this session will likely be on 9th of February. So I hope you have clicked on the link to join the community where we will be sharing about the details of this session. So stay tuned, join the Mindful Living community, and stay tuned for the next session, which is tentatively scheduled for 9th of February. Thank you, Rajesh ji. You can unmute and talk, keep your camera on, and share your takeaways, comments, questions.
I mean, it's very interesting to know that where Ram collected his weapons, from Agast Muni, from the Dandakarni, which I never knew about it, the first weapons probably, right? That's been
No,
Agast Muni.
no, we'll see in the next session.
Okay.
At every place, Vishwamitra gives him a lot of weapons.
Okay.
In fact, the purpose of Vishwamitra calling him with him was, give him. These people probably, that is why I think these were positioned by people.
Correct. They're all predetermined.
Parshuram, Vishwamitra, they were positioned. Vishwamitra gives him so many astras and shastras. In those 10, 15 days of his association with Vishwamitra, where he kills Tataka Vadha, then Maricha Vadha, and all those people, he gives them a lot of astra shastras.
Yeah, but surprisingly, Agast Muni. No, the Agast Muni is a sage and a different purpose.
No, but all these sages always had, this Shastra Vidya with them.
Okay. Special weapons. Okay.
Yeah.
That's also an interesting perspective.
I'll just tell you for the sake of interest, what he gave him was, just noted down, I forgot to say that. Aindra something. Aindra Dhanush probably belonged to Indra.
Oh.
Then a Khadaga and a Tunir. Tunir matlab jo baan rakhte hai na. But this was such a Tunir which Agasti gave him, जिसमें बाण घटेंगे नहीं.
Oh.
See if they will be there.
Thank you. Yes, Rajesh, please.
Vidur and Ashwini, good evening. It's a long time
nice
we
to
met,
see you.
Vidur. It was great to see you today. And
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I really enjoyed the thing,
It
the
is really
presentation.
pleasant surprise to see you, sir.
You had said on a group, no? So I said I was, it's been long since I've been trying to get into this. And what better person than you?
Grateful, sir. Grateful.
And I will continue. I will certainly join the WhatsApp group and I will be a regular attendee, and I really could not, listen to this thing. I'll first listen to your first one, which you did in November, which I was not aware.
Yes.
And next time I'll be a little better prepared. Thanks
Thank
a
you so
ton,
much.
and
Very kind of you.
we'll chat on our personal net.
Yes, sir, certainly.
So great. Regards to ma'am and your son, huh? It's been long
Certainly, sir.
time.
Thank you.
And
Colonel Jolly has been my.
Pinky, I showed Pinky your photo. This thing, she couldn't recognize you because of your beard and mustache. She couldn't recognize you. Sorry for being a little personal on the group. And,
No doubt. Thank you.
I said I must make use of it. Thanks a ton, yeah. It was great.
Thank
I
you.
really.
Very much.
I think the beard and mush also one of the requirements for a rishis, they always.
Yeah.
You know, we have served in Ladakh together
Okay.
as
Wow.
colleagues.
What
So
wonderful times
we have
had.
nostalgic memories. That is on 1987 to 89.
Yes, sir.
It was a long time back.
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
It was great there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he
lot of
had
memories.
recently got married that time. So lot of nostalgic memories.
Yeah.
Mm.
Very much. And I think I could come for my marriage only courtesy Colonel Jolly.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
Had he not put in that word in the manner that it should be put up to a commanding officer, I think I wouldn't have got that leave. And had I got delayed by 1 day, my marriage would have been cancelled. I am so thankful. Probably Ami Ben, who is also sitting in the gathering now,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
would be knowing, that how we were in the trouble that time. But anyway.
I can't recall that. Very gracious of you to have remembered this.
I'll tell you some other time, sir.
Okay.
You're not grateful, is it? Don't shock us.
Sorry?
No, you mean to say, he said you're grateful, he said, then he said to share some other time. I'm sure,
No, there is
grateful
a
for them.
time means I will remind him what was the plot and how.
No,
That's a long story.
And I'm just joking, but as far as giving a leave, the marriage wouldn't have happened, right? So that's what you're saying. Grateful part, what way you are mentioning?
That is
I'm just kidding.
I was only an instrument. वो तो ऊपर वाला देता है सब कुछ. Everything is planned by the Almighty.
Okay.
Yeah, what is true for Ramayana is true for every one of us.
इसमें भी रामायण आ जाती है. And thank you very much for introducing me into this thing. I am so grateful, and I will be your regular attendee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Udur sir. It's wonderful, really. A lot of insights.
Thank you.
We
Thank
really
you.
needed it, and really, slowly the transformation is happening, I think. You like to watch more. Yeah.
Thank you. Very kind of you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Yeah. And
Thank
on that happy note, we will bring the session to a close. Thank you so much, Brigadier Vidur, for
Thank you
such
so
an
much.
enlightening session on
Thank you and
Ramayana.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri
Jai
Ram.
Shri Ram.
Oh,
Thank you.
lovely. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Yeah.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram.